For years, Catholics have heard this same message from different sides. Some say the church is collapsing because it has abandoned tradition. Others say the church is failing because it refuses to modernize. But theologian Larry Chapp, who received his doctorate in theology from Fordham University in 1994, specializing in Urs von Balthasar, believes both sides are missing a deeper problem. According to Chapp, the church's biggest crisis today is not apostasy. It is not irrelevance. It is exhaustion. In a recent commentary, Chapp argues that many deeply engaged Catholics are simply tired. Tired of constant arguments. Tired of endless controversies. And tired of feeling like every new week brings another crisis. He notes that recent attention has shifted toward the new encyclical from Pope Leo, and for Chapp, that is actually refreshing. He believes Catholics need more positive discussions and fewer stories that constantly emphasize conflict and division. One issue that continues to dominate church debates is the priestly fraternity of St. Pius X, SSPX. The SSPX argues that the Catholic Church is experiencing such a grave crisis of apostasy that its schismatic acts are warranted. Chapp strongly disagrees. He believes the debate has pushed Catholics to focus almost entirely on what is wrong with the Church while ignoring what is right. He admits the Church has real problems. Every generation of Catholics has faced challenges, but he rejects the idea that the situation is as dark or hopeless as the SSPX claims. The best counterargument, he says, is not endless polemics, but a renewed focus on the many signs of life still present within the Church. At the same time, Chapp criticizes movements on the opposite end of the spectrum. He points specifically to Germany's Synodal way, which seeks to morally legitimize homosexual relationships, turn church governance over to a lay-dominated board, and ordain women and married men. But Chapp sees something surprising. Although the SSPX and progressive groups disagree on almost everything, both share a similar assumption. Both believe the Church is in a severe crisis requiring radical change. The difference is only in how they define that crisis. Apostasy for the traditionalists, lack of modern credibility for the progressives. What effect does this constant battle have on ordinary Catholics? The clerical sexual abuse revelations of past decades already damaged trust in church leadership. That scandal, Chapp writes, was the emotional equivalent of being clotheslined right before the finish line. Then came years of papal controversies, social media's balkanized silo of endless complaints, and now these current divisions. Chapp observes that 90% of practicing Catholics are doing just fine because they do not follow ecclesial politics closely. But among engaged laity, church leaders, and priests, exhaustion is everywhere. Young, idealistic priests are caught between warring factions on a daily basis. Their pastoral decisions often gain them nothing more than complaint letters to the chancery. Many are responsible for 2 or even 3 parishes, compounding physical burnout with spiritual fatigue. Chapp fears that a quiet resignation has set in, not the resignation of contemplative silence, but the silent scream of those on the verge of checking out. Once the joy of faith is gone, boredom follows. Sacraments feel empty. The solution, he insists, is not entertainment or therapy. The liturgy is not meant to distract, but to become ever more mystical, drilling into the Church's contemplative core. Drawing on Pope Benedict XVI's theology of vicarious representation, Chapp argues that Christians must run headfirst into crises like firefighters into a burning house, offering their suffering as reparation. Christ vicariously bore all human evil and conquered it through love. We, as a priestly people, are called to the same hidden and mystical perseverance. The Church may be wounded and tired, but it is far from defeated. Beneath every controversy, the fire of prayer cannot be extinguished.